Oh, Lyon. It's like Paris, but a bit more calmer, a bit more relaxed. Today on Sunday in Lyon, it's pretty quiet. So join me for a nice coffee here in Lyon. I'm drinking, ironically, Italian brand Lavanza. A typical French cafe here on the beautiful street corner in Lyon. Hello everyone, I'm Ariel, this is Urbanist, and a lot of people always ask me a lot of questions. Some people have been asking very deep questions about travel and about my experiences in France and other recent countries. So I figured I should hop on randomly here for about 30 minutes to have a good chat as we have a coffee break here in Lyon, France. Things are pretty quiet here in Lyon on the Sunday. You might hear some hustle and bustle here, but it's just because this is one of the streets that connects the peninsula of Lyon, the first and second arrondissement, with the old Lyon, and you can go over to the newer parts. So that's why there's more hustle and bustle here. But generally, it's very quiet on Sunday. So look at this right here. So welcome everyone, welcome Kay. I just had a huge, gigantic meal. If you go to a bouchon in Lyon, which is the eateries of Lyon, they're famous for them. Maybe don't have the 3-course meal for lunch, and maybe don't have a pot of wine. So wine here is very inexpensive. A pot of wine, which is about 3 or 4 cups. It's about 4 cups. Sometimes they serve you a little bit more. It's about the equivalent of 1 glass of wine in the US. But I would not recommend that for lunch. I ate way too much. I feel way too lethargic to walk around at this moment in time. But I had an amazing meal at a beautiful place nearby, which I can pop up some photos if people want to see the meal. And then you can feel free to ask me anything that you would like about travel. So let me pop up the photos of the meal I had. So this was the first course, but the first course is not really the first course because in many good bouchons, they end up giving you a few kind of mini salads, lentils. There's like a potato salad. There is sometimes a pate. In this case, they gave me 4 mini salads right before this first course. So I was already lavishing on food. And then we had 2 poached eggs smothered in this kind of broth with some fatty pieces of bacon, some pate, more pate, and 2 pieces of kind of hardened bread, which softened in the broth. It was really good. And then this was the name of the restaurant I went to, Mercier. It's right in the touristy area of Lyon. It's right across the bridge of Old Lyon in this more touristy area. This is open in August, which is awesome. And there's loud motorcycles. This was the main course, which was a penne. Woo, that's a loud motorcycle. Penne with truffle, lots of truffle. French are also famous for their truffle. With a foie gras pate. Now, many of you, or some of you, really don't like when people eat foie gras. I get it. It's normal here, ladies and gentlemen. Foie gras, pretty much every normal French person eats foie gras. So that's foie gras. Odd combination, but it's actually really good. Foie gras here in Lyon is delicious. And then finally, I think this is where I went over the limit. It was the dessert. Dessert, as they say here. You have the choice between cheeses or dessert. I chose a chestnut cake made with pralines in this beautiful kind of chocolatey, caramelly sauce. Really delicious, but ooh, it's a lot of food. That's why I need a big coffee. So that was my meal and pot of wine, which was this big. Not a bottle, but it's probably maybe 3/4, half to 3/4 of a bottle. Hey, Mika says, that looks delicious. It really was. Hello, Tammany. Hello, Colleen. Hello, RJ. Kay says, I like to have a nap after that meal. You know, I haven't had a nap after a meal in a long time. But I did that live video at eating at a Bouchon style restaurant at the food hall, Lyon. I took a nap right after that. Bella says the dessert looks scrumptious. It really was, actually. I felt guilty not finishing it, so I finished it. I couldn't finish the wine though. The wine, I know that is kind of a travesty in France, but I end up realizing the bad decision I made buying a pot of wine during lunchtime. And the food is so filling. This is a crazy thing. The food is so filling that you won't get tipsy nor drunk from a pot of wine, because the food just completely coats your stomach in layers and layers of butter and fat and sugar. Well, not too much sugar, but butter and fat. That's for sure. Eugene says, enjoy your coffee. Oh, thank you so much, Eugene. So feel free to ask me anything about travel, or anything you would like. Let's go for a chill coffee break. That's my day thus far. It was raining. The rain dance that I performed yesterday, the day before yesterday, when the live stream crashed, worked. It's sunny now, but it was thunderstorming earlier today since the morning. I was woken up by the huge thunder that was crashing right by my lodging. Camilla asks, am I in Lyon? Yes, I am in Lyon. Susie says, I was just making my daily iced coffee. Oh, awesome. Very cool. How do you make your iced coffee? Do let me know. Cringe, nice to see you here. Tim says, how did you get to Brussels from Lyon? Great question. That's a great question, Tim. Brussels has high-speed train over to Paris. So I ended up taking the Thales service. Thales basically services everywhere from Paris through Belgium into the Netherlands towards Amsterdam. So it's very useful. I took first class on the Thales, and it ended up costing me about €90. It's not really that necessary because the trip is so short. So that was about an hour and a half to Paris. And then from Paris, I had to go to another high-speed train over to Lyon. The problem is in Paris, and this is the case in a lot of places in Europe, and Europe is trying to fix this. They're going to focus on fixing this in the next few decades. Is that in order to go from Brussels to Lyon, I have to go across Paris to a station that is on the other side of Paris. So I forgot where I landed. Oh yeah, I landed in Gare du Nord when I came in from Brussels into Paris. In order to go to Lyon, I had to take the high-speed train from Gare de Lyon, which is on the opposite side of Paris. So I had to take one metro stop across Paris, and then I transferred over to my train. I made sure I had about 2.5 hours of connection time, which was more than enough. And I ended up taking the train here. About 2 hours, high-speed train to Lyon. Michelle says, we also need a lot of rain over here in the Netherlands. Yeah, I hope you get rain. Yeah, I'm so glad it rained. It comes with the downside. I'm going to a place in France where I kind of need it to be sunny. If it rains, I'm gonna be able to do not much. So I checked up the weather earlier today, and I was a bit bummed seeing that rain was in the forecast of where I'm going. Crossing fingers, things change. I'm glad that France is getting its rain, but the area I'm going to really, I don't think needs too much rain. So I hope it doesn't rain so I can actually just do the cool things. You'll see what they are. Hopefully you'll see what they are. Hopefully there'll be at least one sunny day where I can do most of the cool things. ¿Vas a contar cuál es los otros lugares que va a visitar o son por sorpresas? Evelyn asks, are you going to count the places you're going to visit, or are they surprises? Yes, I can tell you. Sí, te puedo decir cuáles son las cosas que te puedo que voy a visitar. Voy a una área que se necesita un poco más de... How do you say layers in Spanish? I don't know how to say layers. Va a necesitar potencialmente un jacket bien liviano. Un abrigo liviano, no tan fuerte, bien liviano. Y después vamos a una área que se necesita los pantalones bien cortitos. No se puede ahí caminar con pantalones largos porque va a tener mucho calor. Y una área que es bien soleado. Y después vamos a un lugar que es más como una ciudad grande. So we're going to 3 different places. A place where you need some jackets. A place where you're gonna need some short shorts. And a place where it's more of a big city. It's an old favorite. Bella says, I hope rain doesn't put a damper in things. Cross your fingers. Camilla, nice to see you here. Hope the rain... Capas, says Gigi. Susie says, yo, you haven't left for the cold place yet? No, I leave for that on Wednesday. Wednesday is when I leave. I'm still not in the new city. I'm in Lyon for 2 more days. Well, today and 2 more days after that. Wilmy, nice to see you here. Guta. Excuse me. Susie says, I expected you to see you in the coat. Tim says, cost difference between high-speed train and slow train. That's a great question. I would not really recommend doing a slow train between countries. I'm not sure if it's really even doable. Generally, trains between countries, you either have 2 things. You have an intercity, which connects 2 cities really close to each other across the border. Or you have high speed that connects 2 major cities. Brussels and Paris, I think, are only connected via high speed. Correct me if I'm wrong. However, I found out that place where there was an intercity train was between Rotterdam and Brussels. I took a Thales high-speed service. It cost me €80 to go from Rotterdam to Brussels. I found out that was not really needed because that trip was only about an hour, 45 minutes long, maybe a little bit less. And to take an intercity train, which will cost me only €37, would have only been an hour and a half, 2 hours. So I could have saved some money and not needed to take a high-speed train. So do watch out. If you're in a country where the cities are very close to each other, close to the borders, then there might be an opportunity to take an intercity train rather than a high-speed. But if you're going to Paris, pretty much Paris, if you're coming from any other country, it's all high-speed. Marie says, how do you pack up for a long trip? I have a checked luggage. So I did not go carry-on only. Wilmy says it was very expensive. I spent going to Rotterdam to Brussels. Yeah, I overspent in that particular trip. So I have checked luggage. I have this backpack. And since I've been buying souvenirs, some for myself, others for family, and I buy books when I come to... My souvenirs are sometimes books. So I have like a huge tote bag as well. Plus I have boots along with my shoes. So I have a huge tote bag. What tips can I offer is... It's always better to travel with one type of weather. The reason is, I'm carrying a lot of stuff because I travel between different types of weather. I went from Scotland, which was rather cold, and I needed a jacket, as you saw me in a few videos. And then The Netherlands was pretty good mild weather, and now I'm in hot weather, so I need my shorts. Here in Lyon, I'll be going to hot weather again later this month, and I needed also a jacket for this next leg of the trip, and I don't have a jacket. I actually send it back to New York, but I do have my boots, and my boots might be necessary for also this next leg of the trip. If you're traveling with only one weather in mind, and you're not, if you're only traveling with one weather, meaning you're only going to places that are warm, or you're only going to places that are cool or cold, or you're only going for a hiking / mountainous nature trip, or you're only going to a place that's super hot, like tropical countries or desert countries. If you only do one of those, you can minimize what you're packing. So for example, if you're going to a cold country, you're going to be wearing your jacket a lot or your sweater a lot. So be sure to layer so you can take off those layers. But also your bottom layer is not going to matter too much. So when I went to Seattle, when I went to London, I didn't really need to have too many of these shirts because everything was being covered by a sweater. But if you're going to a warm place, you don't need a sweater, but you're also gonna need maybe to change a few of your shirts. So you don't want to wear the same shirt all the time. So that's where you bring a little bit extra shirts. So that's the benefit of only doing one weather at a time. If you're doing multiple weathers, then layers. Layers is your friend. So for example, I have, just in case, a thermal t-shirt that I can wear underneath, and I also have very thick socks. So just in case it gets really cold in my next stop, I can wear that along with the other layers. Andre says, do you know that it's €9 for all regional trains, trams, and buses in Germany this month? It is, but it comes at a cost. Germany is a very dense, highly populated country. So I heard that because of that price, only €9 for all trains. Most regular trains are very slow and they're very packed like sardines, and that does not sound so pleasant for me. So even if I were to go to Germany, I probably would spend still on the faster trains. Mirno says, have you ever auditioned for reality shows like The Amazing Race? No, I never auditioned for a reality TV show. I really don't have the personality for it. I am not someone who likes drama. I'm not someone who I like telling stories with drama, but I don't like interpersonal drama. I don't think I would be good for reality TV. Like Amazing Race, I don't think I could. I think producers would be rather bored with me. Because if I come up across something hard, I can act if I want to, but genuinely, I'll be like, okay, it's not too bad. We'll figure it out. The producers will get frustrated. It's like, Ariel, just show some emotion, cry, scream, Ariel, get pissed off at your travel mate. KA makes a great point. Also, make sure that you plan your wardrobe where you can mix and match. Some people are not going to care at all. That's fine. If you care even a little bit about your style when you're traveling, make sure you wear clothes that combine well, and then you can mix match between those clothes. So for me, I have like 2 purple shirts, 3 purplish shirts, and I have shades of blue. Basically, that's it. I have purple and blue are the 2 main colors I aim for, and I have white. Basically, I can combine a lot of my pieces together because I only have about 3 colors, 2 colors mostly, purple and blue. If I were to introduce a green, or I would introduce a what would be a hard color to combine, a brown, orange, it would make my clothing decisions on a daily basis is a bit more harder. So that means I have undershirts that are bluish, light blue, white. I have these shirts that are bluish, purplish, and then I have the jackets or the overshirt that's bluish, the rain jacket that's bluish. So it's easy for me to kind of combine. Kat says green look good on you. Thank you. But since I planned for layering throughout this trip, I don't have greens on me really for this trip. I have like one shirt with a little bit of green, but that's it. Susie says I can see you on Big Brother. Nicole, nice to see you here. Feel free to ask me anything. Learning French tips? My biggest tip for France is eat the local food. Food here is amazing. Truly, truly wonderful. There are some international foods here. There's poke bowls, for example. There's sushi. You can find Japanese. You can find Korean. You can find Lebanese. If you don't have a restriction with food, like if you're not of the Islamic faith or eating kosher, I would recommend eating the local foods because there are truly dishes here that you won't find back in the U.S., especially in Lyon. You won't find them in the U.S. It's truly a culinary adventure. And also, plan with food ahead of time. So if you want to maximize your culinary adventures, and if you're traveling with a significant other, a friend, and especially if you're traveling more than one other person, if it's 2 people or more, do plan ahead for food here in France. This also applies to Italy, because it's hard to find a table spontaneously. You can just pop up to a restaurant, but unfortunately, not all restaurants will have tables for you. The ones that will are probably not the ones that are selling the best food. They tend to be the ones that are more touristy, and they tend to be huge. So do plan ahead, or do make reservations ahead. If you're a solo traveler like me, you can risk it, because some restaurants are, especially if you go early. So restaurants here open between 2 different points of time, 12 to about 2 or 3 p.m. That's the first block. 7 to about 10 p.m. That's the second block. If you come for lunch at 12 p.m. and you're a solo traveler or you're one other person, there's a chance you could get seated at some of the best places. But come in right when it opens. Same thing later on, 7 p.m. Come right when it opens. Because if you risk coming at 9 p.m., you might not get a seat. You might not get a table. As a solo traveler, sometimes they stuff me into like the very awkward seat in the corner. That's okay. At least I got a seat in the nice restaurant without making a reservation. Annette says, have you visited a vineyard? Not yet. Not yet. Annette. My only restriction is food. Non-vegan, says Ron. Oh, you only want non-vegan food. Ooh, Ron. That's gonna be easy for you here. It's gonna be very easy. You can have non-vegan food everywhere here. This is a Mediterranean's paradise. Susie says there's a streaming show called The Bushwick Bachelor. Too bad you don't live in Bushwick. I could live in Bushwick for that. Marie says, have you felt scared or unsafe at some point on this journey through Europe? That's a good question. The majority of the trip, no. Unfortunately, here in Lyon, it's so empty in August that it makes me feel a bit uneasy. I know that the city's generally safe, but it makes me feel a bit uneasy. The other countries, not so much. Yeah, so Netherlands, I felt very, very safe. Denmark, I felt extremely. Yeah, someone was playing some rap, some hip hop. Marina says it's a charming corner. It really is. So when it comes to, Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, Paris, Scotland, UK, I felt safe in all of them. Really, really safe in all of them. Only place where I feel just a bit uneasy is here in Lyon because it's so empty since it's August. So there's not that many people here. And let me know if that happens to you. Yeah, sometimes when things are a bit too empty, it makes me feel a bit uneasy. I don't feel as calm here as I did in the Netherlands. Ron says not so many buskers here, or this trip in general. Yeah, not too many buskers. Yeah, Italy had quite a lot of buskers. Not too many here. No. Nomades, nice to see you here. Susie says lots of young people here. This must be the Soho of France. I guess so. Yeah, I think France is also a pretty young country overall. Sorry, no, I know. Laurel says, yeah, surprisingly loud. Where's all the countryside? I'm used to seeing this in the tour, says Laurel. You want to see countryside? And there's an annoying fly here. You want to see countryside? Stay tuned. Kat says, I like empty streets. Nice, that's good. ¿Coleccionas algunas cosas que cuando tú visitas los lugares? Pregunta Evelyn, do you collect things when I go and travel? Postcards and books. So yo colecciono las cartas postales. ¿Así se dice? Cartas postales. Y libros. Ron says, so France turns into Seattle in August. Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much. Hello, Evelyn. Nice to see you here. Tim says, where do most French people go on holiday? I think it's either south of France or Spain. Nomades, nice to see you here. Welcome. Bienvenidos. Ojalá todo está bien allá. Soldier, good afternoon to you too. Have you visited a vineyard? Not yet, Annette. Stay tuned. Sally, welcome. Evelyn asks, ayer me quedó con una duda. ¿Por qué no eran amables esos franceses en el restaurante? Aunque dijiste que el mesero era amable. Evelyn asks, why did you say the French people at the restaurant weren't friendly? While the waiter was indeed friendly. Evelyn, la razón es que los muchachos estaban riéndose. Se estaban riéndose. No era un placer estar en ese ambiente. Viéndose a mí, no viéndose conmigo. So eso no era un placer. So the reason was those 3 kids, basically, they were kids, early 20-somethings, but they were acting a lot younger. They were laughing the entire time I was there. It was 10 minutes of straight giggling at me, which is not very pleasant to be around. So that's why I wouldn't say that's friendly at all. It's friendly when you share a joke with people, that's for sure. Marina says, what are your favorite travel apps? Oh, this place is already closing. Favorite travel apps is Airbnb, of course. Airbnb, not just because of the lodging, but also because of their tours. They're amazing. Susie says, that's so rude, and Trevanisa says, that's annoying. It is, yes. You know, it's expected sometimes with very little kids, that's for sure, but once someone beyond the age of 15, it's rude, that's for sure. And it's not a pleasure to be around that. So, travel apps, Airbnb, not just because of the lodging, but also because of the tours. Number 2 is Get Your Guide, which is great for tours as well. And also day trips. So if you want to do day trips, I would recommend Get Your Guide. It's a great way to get on the bus and go with the tour group to somewhere awesome that's a little bit hard to get to via train. I did that a lot in Ireland, did that sometimes in the UK. It was very useful, especially in Ireland. It's also useful only in Ireland. Ireland is where you will need a car a lot. So Get Your Guide was super useful there. In the UK as well. Once you start going to Scotland also, you'll need a car or a tour. One of those two. And then Google Maps. Atlas Obscura. So people often ask me, how do you find these crazy places, these very small, tiny secrets? Atlas Obscura is my best method. So that is a great app. The reason the app is good is because they actually have like a maps feature where you can actually see everything visually on the map, where all these tiny little hidden history secrets are located. The other one is, I use one more. TripAdvisor is very good. All right, everyone. They're about to close, so feel free to ask me anything. Last remaining questions. I would be so lost in my own neighborhood without Google Maps, says Susie. Yeah. Do you like free walking tours, says Tim? I like them. I do recommend them. Free walking tours are always not the best in terms of the quality. Sometimes there's excellent tour guides, and sometimes there's not. So you take a risk, but the cool thing is you're not spending that much money, aside from tip. The downside for me personally is I make videos about history, and unfortunately some tour guides can feel rather precious about their history tales. I never intend on stealing someone's story, but history in essence can't really be stolen. It's already there. Like people have already written about it and already collected the history. But there are some tour guides that feel precious to the stories that they found. So I tend not to join history tours anymore for pleasure because of my work. I don't really care for someone accusing me for stealing their content, which is a bit of a shame, but it's already happened to me twice last summer. Wasn't too bad, but it was just not so pleasurable to be with a tour guide that feels threatened like that. Maria says, history is not copyrighted. Right, it's not copyrighted. So what I do instead is either I go on super, super, super niche subjects I would never make a video on. Like I did a music tour here. And yeah, I do music videos in New York, but not here. Or I go on food tours. No one's really gonna claim that they own food, so that's why I go on food tours. Star says tour guides shake their boots when they're here. Some tour guides, you know, I have featured tour guides and they're very nice when I feature them, but yeah, it's a bit tough. Lorraine says you're the best tour guide. All right. Thank you so much, Lorraine. I appreciate that. When's the next video? There's no official videos next week, not by schedule. The reason is I'm going to an area that is a bit more naturey, and you're going to need a layer or two to where we're going. And also, I can't really do any live videos starting at 3. The reason for that is that the later I am at these places is not that you can't really be there after a certain time. You'll see where I'm at. You guys stay tuned, but there'll be mini live videos Thursday through Saturday. I'll attempt to do a live video somewhere, anywhere in this place. And I bet I'll be able to find some cell phone reception, crossing fingers. And hopefully we'll find cell phone reception in where it matters the most. And I will be announcing what that will be and around the time I'm gonna get there, permitting that I can visit this particular location Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I will tell you around what time I aim to be live if I can. Because we're going to somewhere where usually there's no live videos. Ron says Montana. So stay tuned, everyone. And yes, it'll be in France. France is the last country on our list. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. This coffee break. Check out here, Lyon. Beautiful city. I enjoy it. It's pretty empty on August, so come here maybe on June or July and enjoy a little bit better. Keep being awesome and always keep on exploring. Have a great day, everyone. Au revoir, mes amis.